Sometimes you find a mysterious message in a game that makes you think, time to crack the code. This might take a while. Fortunately, there's no messages like these in War Thunder, the most comprehensive vehicle combat game available now for free on PC, consoles, and mobile. War Thunder is huge explosive fun that lets you command over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships. Personally love the painstaking accuracy and immersive gameplay, as every part of every vehicle is destructible, with the game's X-ray view zooming in to show the exact damage dealt to each component. It's pretty dope. Play War Thunder now for free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and mobile, using my links in the pinned comment or video description down below. And for a limited time, new and returning players that haven't played for at least 6 months for PC and consoles will get a massive bonus pack that includes the exclusive vehicle decorator Eagle of Valor, 100 Silver Lions, and 7 days of premium account. 50 Floors, the Paranormal Investigator's Prologue. Thanks to Quastio404 for submitting this discovery on Oddheader.com. 50 Floors released on Steam in 2024 from indie developer Arsonist Studio. It's a short Spot the Anomaly game where you must search for the anomalies through the office building of the Paranormal Investigators TV show, moving to the floor below if you don't see an anomaly, or going to the floor above if you do see the anomaly, until you finally made it through all 50 floors. Though getting through all of these floors is rough, as anomalies range from simple things like resized furniture to what the fuck is going on discoveries, like all the lights being replaced with creepy baby faces, posters of eyeballs everywhere, or the bathroom door being replaced with a giant hole. 50 Floors is a game where you literally don't know what's lurking around every corner, and you may even run into one of these mysterious shadow-like entities. While these shadow figures don't appear to do anything to the player, I still wouldn't trust them, as if you get close enough and touch one, it triggers a screen with an eyeball and creepy breathing audio, while a message flashes across the screen. The text reads, "You are nothing, accept your sin, and kill them all," before a long base 64 code. The code translates to 3 bodies. The police have already found 2 bodies. My daughter is with me. My lovely daughter, I'm sorry. At this point, the message doesn't appear to have any known context in the game, and no one's sure what it means. I really hope it's not alluding to anything real, because if so, I have some serious concerns for this person's daughter. Grand Theft Auto 5. Thanks to WoofForDude321 for submitting this mystery on the Oddheader Discord. There seems to be no end to mysteries in Grand Theft Auto 5, even now that it's been over a decade since its original release. In fact, there's one mystery I've been working on for a long time that I'm excited to show my findings for soon. Today we're going to look at yet another strange discovery. As near the Ron Alternate's wind farm area of the game, there's some strange codes written on the side of the highway. The first one is a numeric code, with each number corresponding to a letter of the alphabet. Translating it reveals AYHTDWFTDTCJ, which actually stands for "All you had to do was follow the damn train, CJ," a reference to the wrong side of the tracks mission in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. In a notoriously difficult mission, CJ and Big Smoke must chase down a train while dodging obstacles, and when the player fails the mission, Big Smoke yells, "All we had to do was follow the damn train, CJ," a line that a lot of players heard repeatedly, and was even referenced in Minecraft and Cyberpunk 2077. While this appears to be solved, by following the pipe next to the code, you can find another code a little further down the wall, M-012C79511, which nobody knows the meaning of. It doesn't appear this cipher follows the same A1Z26 system as the first numeric code, as it contains 2 letters as well as the number 0, which doesn't stand for anything in the alphabet. It's just another discovery in the long list of mysteries that have yet to be solved before Grand Theft Auto 6 drops, including one mystery I plan to reveal a lot more about soon. Aero Tales Online. Thanks to Zizas and John for submitting this on the Oddheader Discord and website. Aero Tales Online is a free-to-play MMORPG that released in 2022 by the Turkish developer Anisaji Games. In the game, the YouTuber Basso showed by clipping through the roof of the Grand Fortress. Apparently, you can find a chicken waiting for you next to a note saying, "Do you know the story of the dawn of the first bouncing pixel? May you already know this story in your dreams or elsewhere. If you just know, let me tell you the last last part of the story. It was an RYBA definited bouncing yellow pixel chick. While much of the story appears to be lost in translation, it might be a reference to the Lucky the Chicken Easter egg I covered back in 2020 in Casper's Spirit Dimensions, where the developer Lucky Chicken Games mascot can be found in a secret area behind a bookshelf. Lucky the Chicken tells a cryptic story about a white pixel nestled near red, green, and blue pixels that evolved into polygons who were dying to know what was inside the egg. Was it friendly, dangerous, or fun? Then a small crack appeared on the egg, and as the polygons are about to get the answer, Lucky ends his story and says to find him again, only he's never been found since. Except for some reason in Aero Tales Online. It's hard to say if this is an official continuation of Lucky's story, or if a lone acting developer has taken the story into their own hands. Though considering the translation makes no sense whatsoever, I'm gonna guess the latter, even though without the mistranslation, this whole thing never made a lot of sense to begin with. Die Hard Vendetta. Thanks to Vidyasaur for submitting this discovery on the Oddheader Discord. Die Hard Vendetta is a first-person shooter released in 2002 for GameCube, PlayStation 2, and Xbox. The events of the game take place after the first 3 movies, although the combat got criticism for being pretty generic and slowed down by pointless bullet time, which may be why Die Hard Vendetta has a hidden message in the game that still hasn't been solved 22 years after its release. In 2006, Tips and Tricks magazine wrote about mysterious cheat codes in several games that editors couldn't figure out the purpose of, and also promoted a giveaway of a Tips and Tricks backpack and baseball cap to whoever was the first to solve the codes and mail the solution to the magazine. They wrote that in the GameCube version of Die Hard Vendetta, entering the cheat code LYRYL on the main menu prompts the message RC is B to appear in the top left corner of the screen. Or does it say RC15B? However, the code doesn't seem to make any changes in the game that they found, and no one knows what RC is B is supposed to mean. RC is B. Rampant clipping is bad. Rushed cash grab is bull. Yeah, I got nothing. Still unknown what RCSB is supposed to mean, although if anyone's willing to crack it, it sounds like a free backpack and a hat with your name on it might be in order. Griptape Backbone. Thanks to tooblez for submitting this mystery through Oddheader.com. Griptape Backbone was released in 2017 on Steam by indie developer Stephen Harmon Games. The game begins with the player dying and ending up in Purgatory, which is a 90s-inspired vaporwave surrealist skate park.
Heaven is a half pipe.
The developer describes the game as a relaxing and meditative zen-like experience, with the player free to skate and do tricks around the retro environment as they collect styrofoam cups. Not that this controls well. The game ends once you collect all the cups, as you then get a glimpse of what looks like the developer's childhood before the player dies and the credits roll, with what appears to be a security camera on wheels with the question, what is my purpose? And of course, a tribute to Harambe. Harambe himself, however, would have been confused by the file labeled confession1.txt that players say unexplainably showed up on their desktops after they downloaded the game. The file contains a long-winded confession to a Catholic priest, where the person talks about losing their faith as well as other intimate details, saying they've pleased themselves a lot and that they're bisexual and stopped going to church due to throwing up from all the incense. They go on to say religion seems to be the primary cause of human strife, saying, look at the Crusades, the Shia-Sunni split, the Protestant-Catholic split. I just don't think God would want us to fight over such trivialities. We are not sinners. There is no bad nor good. The world seems far too complex for that. There is only what there is. While hard to argue, the confession still creeped out players who found it on their desktop without expecting it. One of the creepiest lines of the confession, however, is the one that says, perhaps God stays in heaven because he too lives in fear of what he has created, which they admit is actually a line from Spy Kids 2, but that still doesn't make it any less creepy. Mirror's Edge Catalyst. Thanks to Meteor for submitting this on the Oddheader Discord. Mirror's Edge is one of my all-time favorite series, a free-running first-person parkour adventure across the rooftops of a cyberpunk world in a chase to save your twin sister. Mirror's Edge Catalyst was a 2016 reboot of the 2008 title, which took the linear gameplay of the original and expanded it into an open-world city. Unfortunately, the title flopped, because barely anyone played the game. A mystery can be found in Mirror's Edge Catalyst that remains unsolved to this day, as when you're in the Setford Transit Hub, hub. You can jump into this hard-to-reach spot and see this image on the wall with a strange grid-like design above and below it, which fans have called the Badger and the Fox. The image was shared on the Mirror's Edge subreddit, where players assumed it may have been a cipher, when one of the developers of the game, with the username Verillion, reportedly responded in a Mirror's Edge Discord with a cryptic message, saying there was a logical system in deciphering the patterns, and one rule for the chosen method of writing is that additional topography/geometry is not applied unless absolutely necessary. In the portrayal of a certain letter, they go on to say this is done so a message is pre-contextual between two parties and an outsider might not understand the contents. Writing two or more mentioned parties are more familiar with the contents and will be able to decipher it quicker. Ending with Zephyr hides more secrets. The last line implies somewhere in Zephyr there are more unfound Easter eggs, and even though I spent a lot of time in this environment when this game came out, I always felt like there was more to this world to discover. If anything, hopefully this just encourages more people to check out Mirror's Edge Catalyst. You guys been sleeping on this one. World of Goo. Thanks to Lizzy P for submitting this mystery through Oddheader.com. World of Goo is a physics-based puzzle game released in 2008, with an updated version released in 2019. Throughout the game, the player encounters hidden signs, all mysteriously signed by the Sign Painter. Wonder how they came up with that one. At the end of the game, the Sign Painter's identity is revealed to be a telescope operator who helps you reach the ending of the game. However, one sign found earlier in the game has baffled players ever since World of Goo was originally released. As on the level Beauty in the Electric Tentacle, the objective is to move this giant thing on the line of goo, called the Beauty Goo, to the right. However, if you move the Beauty Goo to the left, it falls off the telephone pole far beyond the boundaries of the screen. The player can move to where the Beauty Goo fell and venture far off screen into a dark abyss. They can venture slightly to the right and see multiple fires illuminating a strange drawing of a goo with equations written around it. Beneath it is a sign that reads, "It's so simple." Signed by the original sign painter. The original sign painter? To this day, no one knows who the original sign painter is supposed to be, though some speculate it could be referencing the literal sign painter who made the sign, the creator of the game. In which case, the developers seem to be trying to tell us something, but if there's any meaning to this area, the equations, or who the original sign painter is supposed to be, it remains unsolved. The sign says it's so simple, but after 17 years of trying to figure it out, I think the original sign painter is a liar. My Time at Portia. Thanks to AcidSugar, Marty, and Ashe for submitting this mystery on the Oddheader Discord. My Time at Portia is an open-world life simulation game where the player inherits their father's workshop after an apocalypse and must craft items to help rebuild the city of Portia. The game released in early access on Steam in 2018, with the full game released a year later on PC and consoles. However, a noticeable difference between the PC and console versions continues to puzzle players and has not been solved in the 7 years since the game has been out. In the Peach Plaza area of the game, there's a phone booth that players can interact with to get a message. While the game was in early access, the message was a note from the developers thanking players for playing My Time at Portia. When the full game released, the message changed, as the PC version now says, "I was the one that made the grass grow," and gives the developer's email address for players to contact them with questions or praise about the game. The message also hints at secret rooms in the abandoned ruins location, which contain treasure chests. However, on the console versions of the game, the phone booth now says father, mother, son, daughter. What now? Well, it's a good thing the developers left this email for questions, because I have a lot. While I don't know what any of that is supposed to mean, and if I should be concerned for my family members, this change in message is so random that not a single player has any idea of what it means since it first appeared in 2019. I mean, there's not really any more that can be deduced from this. Seriously. What the hell does this mean? Army Men, Sarge's Heroes 2. Thanks to Robert and Leandro Nicolás for submitting this mystery through Oddheader.com and the Easter Egg Archive for additional research. Army Men Sarge's Heroes 2 released in 2000, part of the Army Men series by the 3DO company, which developers used to bypass strict German ratings boards that were tough on violence and realistic combat, which often forced changes into video games. However, the plastic Army Men still managed to disturb players with a creepy message hidden in the game. As in the Bridge mission, players can unlock a secret message through a series of of hidden triggers. By destroying this crate, it unlocks a portal, which the player can run into to get to another area with some power-ups. Collecting all the power-ups warps the player back to the beginning of the level. Then, by making your way through the rest of the level, you can find a sniper rifle and shoot at a bush, which apparently screams. Then run to the tunnel, which will send you back to the secret room. Once in the room, text on screen says, "Wait, who are you?" That is unimportant. I helped you this time, but you and I will meet again. What do you mean? Watch your back, Hawk. Wah ha ha ha. What was that about? My thoughts entirely. Players still have no idea what any of this is supposed to mean. 25 years after the game's release. It's unclear who is speaking here, who apparently helped the player out and is supposed to meet them again, or most mysteriously, why the player has to watch their back. Tunic. Thanks to the Easter egg archive for spinning this mystery on the Oddheader Discord, and YouTuber FuryForged for additional information. Tunic is an action-adventure game set in a post-apocalyptic fantasy world, released in 2022 by indie developer Isometric Corp Games. The game has its own language called Tunic, which is a set of runes that the player must decipher in order to solve the game's puzzles. In fact, the game is a series of complicated puzzles, where solving one reveals a page of the in-game manual, which reveals the next puzzle, more pages, and more puzzles until the player collects every page. However, one final mystery in the game still hasn't been fully solved. The mystery begins once the player obtains page 54, which has a tower diagram. Also on the page are instructions in Tunic, which reveal a riddle telling players to collect secret treasures to get a portal to appear. Going through the portal leads to the glyph tower, where pressing the D-pad causes Tunic symbols to appear. Though players were at a loss what to do here until they remembered the golden path puzzle that was used to unlock the game's true ending. In this puzzle, players had to find golden symbols throughout the game, some of which are pretty discreetly hidden, with the most difficult one found by activating a dev save file that appears in the load menu at a random point in the game, which drops the player into a new secret location with the golden path on the floor. After all of that, the golden symbols are placed on a diagram which reveals a path around the squares. The path revealed a series of D-pad inputs which players use to unlock a door leading to the game's ending. However, translating the riddle on page 54 reveals the golden path can be used at the glyph tower if the diagram is mirrored and followed backwards. Using the new series of D-pad inputs here causes the symbols to change and cycle, which reveals another secret message that translates to "Do you fear the eyes of the farshore.co?" The URL leads to this trippy visual, which plays audio that sounds like a demonic voice over a creepy soundscape with screeching and wind howling. Zooming in on the image, it looks like the Disquiet Beam, an antagonistic force that can be seen subtly throughout the game. Ripping the audio and putting it through a spectrogram analysis reveals Tunic symbols, which translate to "We are the eyes of the Farshore." You better keep your eyes far away from me. And while the trail ends here, there's more mysteries that remain unsolved. Back in the dev save file, players found if they use a cheat code to drop a firebomb and kill the player character, they can spawn into a mysterious area, which appears to be from an unfinished build of the game. In this area are unused enemies, as well as a mural with a message that translates to "Explore, Reason, Grace, Power, Triumvirate." Also in this area is a podium that used to hold a blank manual page that would have added page number -1 to the player's manual, but has been removed for mysterious reasons. At this point, all we have is this creepy website while we await whatever else is uncovered about the onlooking Disquiet Being. And thanks again to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. War Thunder lets players command over 2,500 vehicles from 10 major nations, from the biplanes and armored cars of the 1920s to modern fighter jets and battle tanks. There really is no better game for fans of military history or incredibly fun, explosive vehicular combat. Join the worldwide community of over 70 million players in epic PvP battles filled with incredibly detailed vehicles, realistic graphics, and authentic sound effects as you command the most powerful war machines of our time. And now War Thunder has an all-new mobile version available on iOS and Android, allowing you to take the battlefield wherever you go. Play War Thunder now for free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and mobile using my links in the pinned comment or video description down below. And for a limited time, new and returning players that haven't played for at least 6 months for PC and consoles will get a massive bonus pack with multiple premium vehicles and an exclusive vehicle decorator. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. And if you know any other secret messages that still haven't been solved, Submit through oddheader.com, come join the Discord, or even send me a shout through Twitter or Reddit. And thanks again to Slippy Slides for helping get the footage in this video. Feel free to subscribe to him down below as well. Shout out to Aaron Johnston, Angel the Fox, Ash Photography, BitWiff27, Black EV50, Chad Biscuits, Eddie Talkspin the Bleach Primid, Flex, Jailbreak, Kieran Bolton, Nat XD, The Meatly, Phoenix157, Rackman22, Riley S, Robert Eisenman, Select, Subrock, and Terrence Stock for their Patreon support. Stay tuned.